Hello everybody, thank you for coming to take a look what I've been making. This has ended up being my design team project for Paulette at TLC Creates Vintage, and I've also included some Mrs Cogs. This is the journal that I've made following the collaboration that I did with Gail Agostinelli, Nancy Rose and Diane Hubert. We challenged each other to make something out of vintage fabric if you watch those videos. And I made mine I've made them into a journal. I've only got one to show you because the other one is actually sold, and being the silly Billy that I am, I didn't think about doing the video to show you them both before I posted it off. However, they are very similar. So I put it into, I had an old vintage tablecloth that has the crocheted edge. So I've made that into a little bag to put the journal in. So obviously I will include that. And this is the journal that I have. So I've made this, the papers that I've used from TLC Creates, I think it was called Grandma's Rose Garden. I will check, but I will put the link below. And that image is from that kit. And I also used, because it was about Grandma's garden, I used from Mrs Cogs, I used her in the garden. I used pink in the garden, white in the garden and yellow in the garden. So there's a range of those images in this journal as well. So the journal itself is soft cover. It measures approximately 8 3/4 by 5 3/4. And in the video that I did about the collaboration, I actually talked through how I made that cover. So if you're interested and you've not seen it, you could go back a few videos and just have a look at that. So as I say, it's a soft cover, reproduction vintage fabrics, because I didn't have any vintage fabrics. Some lace on there, and that actually makes a pocket on the front and on the back. This one is slightly quilted. It does have some wadding in it, and it has some stitches from my sewing machine to add some texture to it, and there's a vintage doily there as well. So if I open it, I think there's around 80 pages in this one, front and back. So that's sewn behind the picture there. Just make sure it's still in frame, yeah. So in the front and on the back, there's a pocket made out of the fabric. And in the front here, I've made a little booklet for some extra sewing space, and that says "In the Garden," because this journal is about the garden. So there's a lovely napkin there with some poppies on and some of the fabric down the spine. This is actually 2 envelopes that have been joined together. So the 2 flaps of the envelopes are here, giving pockets. And there are journaling cards inside those. This one actually opens up for some extra journaling space. And I put a stamp on there as well. And there's some papers, extra papers in there as well. So that's just a little extra journaling space that closes up. So you can see 2 envelopes that have been joined together down the centre to make that little booklet. So the first page there is part of the part of the kit from Paulette. And turning over, there's one of the images there from Mrs Cogs, and that must be pink in the garden because the lady there's got a pink frock on. There's a little pocket there. So this flips up, and there's a tuck spot in there that has some cards in it, and also another card just there. And then there's also, tucked underneath there, there's a journaling card that opens out with some lovely flowers on, and that just tucks behind that. Edith Holden page there. I watched Gail Agostinelli, as I do, and she was making some tuck spots out of book pages, and I had a flower page with roses on, and so because this was Grandma's Rose Garden, I've made a little corner tuck pocket there, and there's an image there that I shrank down from Mrs Cogs with a lady. I think you can see it okay. A lady there in the rose garden, and there's a couple of tags there one's a little seed packet. It goes there. Some light stenciling on these papers. Jane Eyre page there. My grandma loved Jane Eyre and Charlotte Bronte, so I put that in. This is one of Paulette's pages. I think it's floral dictionary pages. And I've put some collaging down the side there. And again, I shrank down the Mrs Cogs images. Book page there. Tuck spot there with an image of someone's grandma. Up in the corner there. And this is one of Paulette's. I think it's the Sears wallpaper kit, I think it is. Edith Holden cookbook page there. And these pages of Paulette's, they are actually pale enough for you to journal on as well. Floral book page there. This is just an envelope that's been made out of a book page and put on the side there. And then on the back, that was just tagged in with the paper clip. Another of the images from Mrs Cogs, and that must be white in the garden because she's wearing white. Another of Paulette's pages there. And some more collaging. I think that that piece there is from Roxy's Creations, I think. An envelope collage page here, and that goes through to the other side as well. So there's a pocket there on the front, and that says, "But he who dares not grasp the thorn should never have the rose." And there's an image there from Mrs Cogs. I think that's either yellow or white in the garden. And she's grasped the rose. In the image there, you can see straight through to the roses. So journaling space there on that one. Another book page there. Beautiful image here from Mrs Cogs. I love that image of that little girl picking the daisies. And I'm sure that's something we all did as kids. That flips down for some journaling space, and there's a tuck spot behind it just there. And doily there. Little corner tuck here on the back of the Jane Eyre page. There's a little image there of a little girl. A journaling card. All the journaling cards are backed with tea stain paper of some sort. And just I had a little scrap of paper left, so that's just got some extra little journaling space in there. Again, some collaging down the side of the page. Book page there, a beautiful image there of the little girl. And again, that's been backed and some lace trim on there. The backing of these tags is actually the index page from a gardening book. So there's all names of flowers on that. There's Grandad fast asleep. I don't know who he is really, but it's a Grandad fast asleep after he's been gardening. And then in the centre of the page, the journal there, I've put some lace down the middle, and there's some collaging on the sides. And it says there, "Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted." And that's a quote by Albert Einstein. And I just like the quote, so I put it in. And again, these are all made from book pages, gardening book pages, so there's all names of flowers there. And another image there from Mrs Cogs. Fabric flip there with some of the fabrics that I had left over. And a nice, shiny, it's a bit like mother of pearl, but I don't think it is. Button at the top there. Oh, the sun's just come out. Again, some collaging there and a lovely image there from Mrs Cogs. Again, another of the envelopes made from a book page. And on the back there is one of the envelope fronts from Paulette. Some more Edith Holden. The back of the envelope that's been collaged, and again, there's just some little bits of fabric there. The back of that, I've done it as a tuck spot. So at the bottom there's a lovely image of I don't know if they are roses actually. They could be, I don't know, camellias. I've no idea. But there's a little card there as well. And this is the other image that was on the front of the other journal that I did, and that's from Paulette's kit. And that's, again, journaling space, so that just tucks in there. Again, some collaging down the side, and I think that, again, is from Roxy's Creations, and a lovely image there from Mrs Cogs. That's a fabric pocket onto a piece of card with some nice buttons on it, and again, that image. And again, the book page there from the gardening book. And the image there from Mrs Cogs. These pages from Paulette's, the dictionary, floral dictionary pages, are really nice. Goes so well with so many journals. Again, another book page. That flips out. So I've left that plain, so you could put an image on there, or write, you know, put something on it so that you can write on it if you want to. This is a wages envelope that I've covered. And then that image there of the little girl. I've just made that into a little book. And that just tucks in. It does, honestly. Yes, it tucks into there. And then there's a tuck spot under there as well. And that says on this day. Folded page there with another piece of the book page there. And some nice rose paper that I had. I don't know where that's from. It was some that I had left over from something. Beautiful red rose there. And again, this image from Mrs Cogs. That must be pink in the garden. And again, that's just a journaling space with some lace on it. And the same, that one's from Paulette. And again, some collaging down the side, and that lovely image of the two children there sat in the garden. Another corner pocket there on the back of the other Jane Eyre page with a couple of tags. This is a tall pocket that I've left open so that you can tuck behind it. Again, the image there, there's a lace pocket just there. Oh, and there's a long tag, sorry. There's a long tag in there as well. And this is a window envelope that's been folded up from the bottom to make the little pocket. So there's a collage piece on the bottom there. A little image of the girl. She's actually looking at a spider's web. I don't know if you can see that or not, but she's looking at a spider's web. And then that beautiful image of the two children there. Some paper behind the envelope, so when the card is in, you can just see the faces peeking out. There's a bit of the book page I had left over from when I did the envelope, so I made that into a journaling card. And it just tucks in the back. And then the back page there from Paulette's kit. And then in the back, there's just some little papers that you can write on. So I've used the envelope fronts from Paulette, and I've stuck some stamps on those. And then I've just stitched it onto some paper so that there's extra journaling space. But this journal, it does have lots of space that you can journal. So that was my collaboration project that I did to make the cover, and I've turned it into my design team project for Paulette and for Mrs Cogs. So I'll put the links below for their kits, because they just worked so well together. And I do hope you like what I made finally. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.